Hello and welcome back to my self-titled YouTube channel. I'm the eponymous Fiona. Once again, I have shut myself in the hottest room in the world, so apologies for being the sweatiest woman alive. So in my last video, I mentioned that I got hold of one of the earliest builds of the game, Stardew Valley, and I cracked it open, I unpacked it, I extracted the files, and in the dialogue files from this really early version of the game, there was all this like unused dialogue for like all of the characters. Just a bunch of weird shit that they say that didn't make it into the game itself. And I put in some of my favorite excerpts, and I got a lot of comments of people saying, you know, please make a video where you go through all of it. So that is what we are doing today. This is not scripted. I was planning on making it like a cozy vibe, like to get a blanket and like a hoodie and stuff, but it's so fucking hot. So maybe in a little while. Does my hair look good messy or like bad messy? All right, we're gonna dive right in after a quick word from today's sponsor. This video is sponsored by Halara. Halara make activewear and casual clothing with an emphasis on comfort and ease of movement. They were kind enough to send me some of their stuff, so here is my haul of the items that I got. As you can see, I wear a lot of brown. I wear a lot of pink and blue. They have a bunch of colour options, so I was able to pick things that seamlessly fit into my existing wardrobe. It's boiling hot here in England at the moment, so I've been wearing my Halara stuff a lot since it arrived because of how breathable and sweat absorbing it is. It's also cute as hell and really flattering. Sizes range from extra small to 4X, with petite and tall options as well. All of the shirts that I got, as well as the dress, have a built-in bra, which is a godsend. I love a built-in bra. And there's also size options for those with a fuller bust as well. I really like the versatility. They're simple, classic pieces that you can dress up or down and pair with a bunch of other outfits. Everything's super soft and feels nice quality, despite being inexpensive and accessible. They even do workwear for if you want to feel cozy while still looking profesh. Use my coupon code Fiona15 for 15% off all full-priced items. Links to all the items shown will be listed in the description box. Let me know what you think of my choices, whether you pick anything up for yourself. I love all the pieces I received. Thank you to Halara for sponsoring this video and for my new summer wardrobe. Okay, let's dive right in. Let's crack open these files. I got my iced coffee. This mug says Stardew Valley. I don't think you can even tell from all the way over there. You're so far away. All right, so I'm recording my screen. So this is what was in the dialogue file, right? I put it on Google Drive. I think it was just easier that way. So it was a folder called dialogue, and within the folder called dialogue, you have the dialogue, right? So that's what these files are. A JSON file is just like a file with code in it, basically. I'll show you. So if we open Abigail, yeah, there's a bunch of code about how it runs. I'll zoom you in. So you can see in Abigail's, dialogue file, these are her actual lines of dialogue. If you go to the wiki, if you play the game, you're going to see these lines of dialogue because they're in the main folder. I'm going to put this here. But these ones, these 4, spring, summer, winter, fall, these are the ones I was talking about. So for example, we go into spring, we look at Shane, and we see the classic dialogue, me, Shane. He doesn't say that in the game. So basically what probably happened is that, as the developer was developing the game, there was a certain amount of like placeholder dialogue or just like rough dialogue. You want to program into the game, oh, he says something on Tuesday, he says something on Wednesday, he says something on Thursday, but you haven't written it yet because programming in the dialogue and writing the dialogue are going to be 2 different steps. So because he's programming it in and he hasn't written it, he just writes me, Shane. And it's interesting as well how all of this like pre-release dialogue is in these folders saying like spring, summer, fall, winter. So within the files themselves, so this is Sam, spring. So there's nothing in here that's like, in spring he says this, in something he says this, right? Because it's in a folder that says spring. But then if we go to his finished dialogue file, you can see that there's lines like this where it says specifically on the 21st of spring he says this. So it's just like all these like pre-release lines are just like, yeah, like an early version before he knew exactly like how he wanted to code everything. Because I don't know. I think a lot of learning went on in the process of developing this game. I mean, as I can tell you, as someone who's worked in the games industry, as someone who's worked on a lot of creative projects, there is a lot of like learning that goes on as you do things. Like clearly he started off, wait, are my feet in the frame? I don't think so. Just checking, no free feet. Yeah, like his like first draft was putting the dialogue into different folders for different seasons, and then that version he ended up with was like integrating it all into one file. So it's just like a trial and error kind of process that we can see, which I think is really interesting. So let's dive into the error of the trial and error. I think I've kind of explained well enough what these files are, right? I think so. I just want to get into the meat of it. I want to read all these crazy fucking lines. So let's go alphabetically. I think this is quite a big undertaking, so I think we'll probably just do the romanceables. I don't really give a shit about the other characters, to be honest. I don't really care that much. So this is Abigail, and I'm going to do my best to remember which lines end up in the actual game. Sorry, I got distracted by what the fuck she says. What is this one? Last night I was sitting on the roof and I saw a barge out in the distance. If I was a pirate, I would have seized that barge. Matey. Ha 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 ha. That was really corny. Sorry. I don't even know what to say about that. What is there to say? I don't know. If you're looking for an analysis from me about this kind of thing, you're not going to get one. It's just going to be like, that was weird. I don't remember what I was saying before I read that. I don't remember who I was before I read that. Okay, yeah, so this is Abigail in spring. Oh yeah, I said I'm gonna try my best to remember which lines are pre-release lines and which lines are in the actual game. I have a pretty good memory for that kind of thing, so I should be right. So that one about the barge is definitely not in the finished game. It seems from my brief analysis that a lot of the lines that didn't make it in were just like jokes that aren't very good. Right? Like the one about the llama from Sebastian. We'll get to it. So the way she introduces herself is different as well. Hello, I'm Abigail. You're the new farmer, huh? Interesting. So in the actual game, she says something like, oh, it's a shame I really liked to explore the like forests and stuff on your farm. So it sucks that I can't do that anymore. That's paraphrasing very much. So let's keep exploring her characterization. Oh, hey, I like to hang out at the cemetery. Nobody bothers me there. It's a peaceful place to read or think about existence. And I guess I'm also hoping to see a ghost. He. What? I was just fighting with my parents again. Sorry, I hardly even know you. Hey, sorry in advance if I say anything rude. I didn't get much sleep last night. Sometimes I just can't sleep. It's like my mind is out of control. What do you want? I don't feel like doing anything today. Maybe I'll just curl up under a blanket and play some video games. That's what I've been doing a lot recently. I've been playing through the new Doom games. And I've been playing them like right before I go to bed. And it means I'm just laying in bed and I'm like... Today I got a letter written by my pen pal Name from Place. He's just some kid who has nothing better to do, I guess. He wrote that he's working at a place called the Adjective Noun. Weird name, huh? So this like, what was it, percentage sign. I thought that this was like a place for like a variable. You know, when it says like player name. And somewhere in the files is stored the player name. So it just like puts it in, right? That's what a variable is, or like a parameter. I don't know, everyone seems to call them something different. I've worked at 3 different game studios. They all called it something different. And I thought that that's what this was, name from place, because Shane's early dialogue does this as well, name from place. But then it says the adjective noun, which implies that it's just like something random. So I don't know. Oh, but then the player name is an at. I don't know enough about code to know that for sure. Yeah, it seems like it's just like there's a list of places, there's a list of names, there's a list of adjectives, there's a list of nouns, and it's just like pick a random one, which is a weird way to do it. I don't know. And then she says weird name, huh? But it could just be a perfectly normal name if it's just random, you don't know. I like to walk alone in the mountains every now and then. Sometimes I pretend I'm an orc. Hey, I gotta keep using my imagination or else I'll get dull. I wonder what would happen if I spent all night in the graveyard. What do you think happens to us after we die? So you can answer, I have no idea. It's kind of hard to pass these lines. I'm going to try and like highlight them as I go, but it's hard because I'm on my laptop. I have no idea is an answer you can make. We come back as spooky ghosts. We go to heaven. Our energy bodies enter the astral plane. Nothing. We just cease to exist. That's a lot of answers. It's 5 whole answers. So I don't know what this is referring to. I'm not sure. So if you say, I have no idea, she says, interesting. If you say, we come back as spooky ghosts, she says, that would be interesting, wouldn't it? If you say, nothing happens to us, we cease to exist, she says, that wouldn't be so bad, I guess. I don't want to be conscious for the rest of all time, you know? Interesting. Okay. I feel like we're going to go through all of this and then I'm going to try and draw any kind of conclusions. Because right now it's just like, oh. Cool. Okay. So Wednesday, she says, hi, player, taking a break from your work? Me too. My schoolwork, that is. I'm taking classes on the computer. Hi, I'm glad to see you. I want to take my mind off things for a while. So just so you know, when it says like Tuesday 4, that's not like Tuesday the 4th. It's Tuesday at 4 hearts. Similar to Wednesday 2, that's Wednesday at 2 hearts. But then something like Sunday 17 in theory means Sunday the 17th. But then it does seem to just link to the answer. Like Sunday 17 is what happens if you hit I have no idea. Because then she says that. So I think probably, yeah, like what I was saying before about the code's maybe a bit jankier in this version. He hasn't got everything nailed down. So Saturday at 6 Hearts, she'll say, you came all this way to visit me. That's nice. So have you been discovering any dark secrets of the mines lately? Oh, interesting. Monday at 8 Hearts. Oh, player, hi. Want to hang out for a while? Here, let me read your palm. Giggle. Thursday at 10 Hearts. Hi, do you feel like everything seems unreal lately? In a good way. Friday at 6 Hearts. The birds were chirping today. They don't understand the future. It's better to be like them, isn't it? That seemingly so far is the only line that I can like identify as being in the game, right? Because I don't think she says any of this other stuff. I think maybe she also says this line. I don't know. I made the Abigail video like a year and a half ago. So yeah, I mean, this is just spring. We have the other ones to look at, but it seems like so far the characterization is pretty similar of like, she's kind of goofy. She likes ghosts. She likes things that are spooky. She's a Halloween coded girly. It seems like the writing is just better in the actual game in that everything here is quite like exposition-y. You know, she's like, I am taking classes on the computer instead of just being like, homework sucks, you know? Also, it seems like an effort has been made to make her more different than Sebastian, because I think Sebastian has a line of like, oh, I'm not going to do anything today, I'm just going to play video games. And I'm glad they took out this line, because this line's really harsh. It's like, why is this kid being my pen pal? He has nothing better to do. Why are you writing to him, Abigail? It's so harsh. And then she says she pretends she's an orc. And I guess a lot of this makes her seem very, very childish. You know, I like to pretend I'm an orc. And having a pen pal is like typically, not always obviously, but like typically that's something you do when you're younger. And then there's like goofy joke about a barge. It's just not very funny, is it, Eric? And then if we look at the events, so this kind of thing is the lines that the characters will say during the events. It's quite obvious because it says event. So like the heart events. So Abigail's, I think, 2 heart event is about the video game. And I'm not sure if this is the exact same line that's used, but obviously it's the same idea of the heart event. Because in the 2 heart event for Abigail, she is like, will you help me beat this level? And here, obviously, she's like, oh, yay, you've said yes to beating this level. Oh, no, you've said no to beating this level, right? So it's the same heart event. And then I think it's her 4 heart event is the one where she's playing the flute in the rain. And it seems like this one's similar as well, because she says, you would appreciate the somber beauty of rain. And I'm pretty sure in the actual game, she says the somber ambiance, because I remember saying that and being like, the somber ambiance. So yeah, just like an early draft, similar, but not identical. And I think that this line is in the game as well. This is the 8 heart event where she's in the cave. And then this one I think is the one where her dad's in it. I don't remember that one very well. Anyway, let's move on to Abigail Summer. See what else we can find. See, this is going to take ages because there's 12 of them. I'm just going to keep blasting through. Okay, so Abigail Summer, she says, summer's here. It's not really my favourite season. I went to the beach last night after dark, or maybe that was just a dream I had. I'm getting bored of this town. Something cool better happen soon. Oh, I'm breaking a sweat just standing here. It's so hot. I probably look awful. That's me. That's me right now. Have you decorated your house at all? That's what I'd be doing if I were you. If I had a sword, I would be exploring those caves by the mountain lake, but I don't have a sword. I wish I had a cat. My cat's just out of frame. He's asleep. It's like a corner sofa and he really likes getting right in the corner. I'm looking forward to fall. It's nice and cool. I've been thinking about where I want to move. What's your favourite environment? Plains, caves, forest, shopping mall. You probably wouldn't like the places I'm thinking about. Maybe we'll be neighbours someday. We both have pretty weird tastes. And she says, the plains would get pretty old. The caves are a mysterious place. And then I think the other ones, she would just say this line. I'm not sure. Wednesday at 2 hearts, I think it would be fun to decorate a farmhouse, especially an old one with creaking floorboards. Tuesday, 4 hearts, I think we have a lot of the same interests. I'm glad you moved here. Saturday, 6 hearts, I'm actually enjoying myself this summer. It's funny how easily my outlook can change. Monday, 8 hearts, I used to think Stardew Valley was boring, but lately I'm starting to love some things about it. So this is, yeah, one of those lines where it's like, they're starting to have feelings for you and they're like, oh, this town, I used to hate this town, but now I kind of like this town. And she's doing that thing of like hinting very strongly that she wants to move onto the farm with you, but she does it at 2 hearts in this version, which is like, I think it'd be fun to live on a farm. I think it'd be fun to move into the farmhouse. Being like very non-subtle about it, but at 2 hearts in this version, which is early. She comes on strong. Does our girl Abigail. Thursday at 10 hearts. Player, you look nice today. We have so much future ahead of us. Isn't that great? Friday at 6 hearts. Would you ever like a cat, player? I've thought about it. Oh. She just mentioned cats and I go, oh. I want to move Marmite so that he's in the frame so you can look at him. But he's like fast asleep and I would feel bad. Maybe later. She says, at 10 hearts, do you ever get lonely on your farm? Which is one of those kind of lines, you know. And then this is the same event dialogue, I guess, because in how this used to work, it was like, this would be the summer dialogue, the only dialogue file that was like active during summer. So you'd have to like put these lines in every folder so that if you get the event, it can like draw from it. I don't know. All right. So that was our girl in summer. Pretty similar to what we said about the last one of like, she's the same person. So I think this is going to be the case of a lot of these of like, it's the same concept, it's the same idea of a person. It's clearly supposed to be the same person, but she's a bit rough around the edges. You know, it's just interesting, yeah, to see these like early versions. All right, so that was Abigail, Summer. Wait, why don't I just open these in different tabs? Oh, because I don't know how. Okay. Abigail, Fool. Ah, Fool's here. I was getting so tired of Summer. I wish we had a museum here. Oh, but they do have a museum. So I guess in this early version, they didn't have a museum. Interesting. I'm going to sneeze. No, it's gone. Monday, do you have any scarecrows on your farm? Tuesday, my dad might be annoying, but he does sell some cool wallpapers. That he does. Wednesday, I can't wait to see some pumpkins this year. Pumpkins are so fun. Thursday, last night I dreamt that my left hand had turned into a gigantic noun. Does that mean anything? She has a line like that in the actual game. Slightly different. I'll put it on the screen. I'll look it up later. That's a problem for me in the future. Friday, I've been talking to this girl online. Her username is Name33. She's in this band called Adjective Noun Noun. They sound pretty experimental. Okay, yeah, so that's probably another thing of like calling up a random name from a list, calling up a random adjective from a list. So Adjective Noun Noun, like spongy, table. Well, now I just want to say floor because I'm just looking around the room and I'm like, table, floor. Spongy table cat. Right, it's just like Mad Libs, I guess. What's it like to be player? Interesting. I'm getting bored again. Hey, should I dye my hair black or crimson? Black, crimson, sunshine yellow with baby blue stripes. Oh, that sounds horrible. That's horrible. I like your hair just the way it is. She says that black is a pretty safe choice. If you say crimson, she says... Oh, wait, no, she says crimson. Wait. Oh, I think she says the same thing to both of these, yeah. That's a pretty safe choice. And then if you say, I like your hair just the way it is, she says, of course, that's what you'd say. Something like that is definitely in the game as it is now. If she's like, what colour should I dye my hair? And if you go, I like it the way it is, she's like, ugh, of course you'd say that. Are you growing pumpkins in your farm this year? Save one for me. I might fight with my dad, but deep down, I still love him. Sorry, I just wanted to say that to you. Don't tell anyone. Hi, I like your hair. You know, I could actually see myself becoming a farmer someday. I wonder if that might ever happen. So that's Monday at 8 hearts. That's another one of those kind of lines, flirty. Thursday at 10 hearts. I had an interesting dream last night with you in it. It was a good dream. I think that's in the game as well, yeah. Fall is such a beautiful time of year. It makes me feel like a little kid again. I usually feel lonely this time of year, but not anymore. Player, what are your plans for the future? So that's at 10 hearts. I think that's in the actual game. And then there's the event dialogue again. All right, yeah, same old thing of pretty similar to what we ended up with. It's interesting that there's been these two lines of like, there was the last one about the pen pal. She was like, I've got this pen pal, I've been talking to him. And now it's like, she says she's been talking to someone online and then that got taken out. Maybe, like I said, because it gives kind of like younger vibes. Or maybe, because in the game itself, I think it plays on this kind of level of isolation that she has. So I guess it would be prudent to take out these references to like her being like super connected to the outside world. Because yeah, there's this like theme of like all the kind of teenage young adult characters in this town are kind of like have this sense of like what am I doing here? You know, I'm in this like tiny town in the middle of nowhere. It kind of sucks. So yeah, taking out these references to her being like super connected to the outside world makes sense. All right, let's look at winter. Well, fall is over, but I like winter too. So the number one means that she would say this on the 1st of winter. I think it's kind of funny that every single season so far she's been like, well, it's this season now. As if you wouldn't know. And I honestly wonder if every character is going to do that. Because why would Abigail be the only one who would be like, well, it's fall now. So I feel like playing this version of the game, you'd be like, it'd be the first of a season. You'd be walking around and everyone would be like, it's winter. That would get kind of old. All right, the 19th. I'm glad humans don't hibernate like bears. Why? I think it sounds cozy. I would like to hibernate like a bear. Monday, it's too cold to go outside much, but I do enjoy building a snow goon. Why is it like that in this game? Why do they call them snow goons and not snowmen? I'm going to Google, what is a snow goon like a thing? No, because the first thing that comes up is Stardew Valley. And there's a German underground hip hop team called Snow Goons. Goons gear. Yeah, it's not a thing. It's just a Stardew Valley thing, supposedly. I wonder if he knew that the word goon would start meaning something different, and I wonder if he regrets calling it a snow goon. Doesn't a steaming hot cup of cocoa sound good right now? Hi, is it boring to be a farmer during the winter? Another year is almost over. It goes by so fast, doesn't it? I wonder why men don't wear fancy hats anymore. Or if you're a woman, I wonder why women never wear bonnets anymore. I guess everyone stares at you if you look different. It's the weekend. That means I can play twice as many video games. Bye. Oh, hello. I made these 2 drawings. What do you think? I like the jungle island and the tiger. I like the orc with the battle axe. I don't like either of them. Remember those drawings I showed you a while ago? I accidentally threw them away. There's a typo there. Remember that drawing I showed you with the orc? I entered it into an online contest and won 50 GP. What's GP? Maybe that was what the currency used to be of like gold points. I don't know. Because it's just G now, isn't it? These responses are so generic. So many times a character will ask a question and you'll respond with your answer and they'll be like, I guess that makes sense. Or like, interesting. It's like, why go to the effort of making a custom response based on the player's answer if you're just going to put, I guess that makes sense. Like, what's the point? So if you say you like the jungle island, she says she guessed that makes sense. If you say you like the orc, she says that's her favorite. If you say you don't like either of them, she says, why would you hurt my feelings like that? You're so insensitive. Which she has a fair point. Why would you say that? Why would you say that? How dare you? Okay, Wednesday at 2 hearts. Hi, if you're ever bored, I'm usually not doing anything. Tuesday, 4 hearts. It's so cold. I wish we had a hot cup of cocoa to share. Saturday at 6 hearts. I've been daydreaming a lot lately. Oh, you want to know what it's about? Well, it's a secret. I think that's in the game as well. Monday at 8 hearts. Hi, player. I was hoping to run into you. I like it when you're around. Thursday at 10 hearts. Another year is almost over, but this was a really good year, don't you think? Wednesday at 6 hearts. It must be nice not having crops to worry about this time of year, and that means you can hang out with me more often. Friday at 10 hearts. Player, there's something I want to tell you. It's just, well, your boots. They look really clean. Gulp. That's all. Sigh. That's in the game. That's in the game. A lot of these lines, like, when I'm editing the videos, I have to watch them back like 5 times. And obviously, like, I'm, filming them and reading all the lines and stuff. So like when I read this, I'm like, I remember how I read that. I remember like, it's like a self vocal stim. Because I think I went like, they look really clean. And then there's all the event dialogue again. All right. So that is all of Abigail. Let's talk about it. So yeah, she comes off young, but she does come off young in the actual game. A lot of it is just kind of generic, I guess. Is it boring to be a farmer in the winter? Another year is almost over. But then there are kind of like the seeds of her character. Like she's talking about how time goes fast. Let me look at her wiki page. Okay, so seemingly I'm not very good at remembering which ones are actually in the game because a lot of these are in the game. So yeah, I'm looking at her wiki page, which obviously isn't like a perfect resource, but just for speed purposes. This one about like, oh, this was a really good year, even though it's almost over. This one's still in there. But yeah, looking at her winter, that's basically, you can always hang out in my room as long as I'm not changing. Yeah, there's not a bunch of stuff that didn't make it in, I guess. Wait, what about the line about men wearing fancy hats? I think it got changed to this one, probably. Everyone stares at you if you look different. He took out the bit about the fancy hats. I wonder why men don't wear fancy hats anymore. Yeah, overall, it's kind of this sense of like taking out a little bit of the whimsy, but like in a good way, right? Because a lot of it comes across as a bit random. She's like, look at these drawings I did of this random stuff. Like, what does this even tell us about her? I like that. So one of the drawings is of a jungle island and a tiger. One of them is an orc with a battle axe. I mean, the orc with the battle axe, I guess, kind of is relevant to Abigail and her sword ways, her combat desires. But a jungle island and a tiger, I don't know what that really does for us. Yeah, there's a sense of like not a lot of focus. But yeah, she's the same character. I don't really see that much difference in her. But then I don't know that much about Abigail. Oh, you Abigail heads out there. Let me know what you think about all of this. I'll put a link to these files in the description in case anyone else wants to like go through them. You shouldn't have to like rely on me and my terrible highlighting like as your resource. I'll put it in the description. All right, well that was Abigail. So yeah, a lot of that was surviving dialogue, but also a lot of it wasn't. Yeah, so there was the line I think of in Fall, the pre-release line of like, I like pumpkins. And in the actual game, she says, save one for me, which is just a bit more subtle. So there's a lot of like, yeah, taking out the very obvious exposition and just like, subtlety, which is good. All right, so now I think we should move on to Alex if we're going alphabetically. But Alex is not called Alex. Alex was called Josh in his early versions of the game. I don't know why it was changed. Don't ask me that. I don't know. But Alex was called Josh. So now we're looking at Josh. Okay, so spring. I'm going to show you
because I also have the dialogue from 1.6, the game as it is now. And so if we look at Alex, yeah, so we can see that in the game as it is now, it says introduction, but in the game as it was, it just says, oh, oopsie. It just says spring the 1st, which is assuming that you're going to introduce yourself to everyone on the very first day of the game, which is probably impossible. I don't know if you could do that. Probably if you like really speed run it, you could talk to every single person on the first day of the game. But yeah, just like little things like that where like probably through trial and error and through like play testing and stuff, it was like, oh, that doesn't make sense to do it like that. So he says, oh, hey man, I'm Josh. So you're the new guy, huh? And this little hat thingy means gender change. Hey, you're the new girl, huh? I think we're going to get along great. I'm Josh. I'll see you around. That's basically the same as it is now. Did you know I was the captain of my school's football team? Oh yeah, and we talked about this in the Gridball video where in his pre-release dialogue, it says football. And in the dialogue from the actual game, it's Gridball, right? So every time that Alex would say Gridball, he instead says football. You can watch that video if you want to know more about that, if you want to. But we're going to stay on topic for now. Did you know I was the captain of my school's football team? See this little star on my shack here? That proves it. So that is a line that is in the game as it is, except it says Gridball. And then in this pre-release version, he also says, this town's too small to have a school, so we go to the next town over. It's interesting that that would be taken out because, yeah, that is like a big question, isn't it? It's like he's talking about his school. All of the other, younger romanceables presumably recently went to high school. But like there is no high school. So where do they go to school? Because the little kids get taught by Penny. But then Penny can't be teaching like Alex because they're like the same age, basically. So it would make sense to include a line like this of like, we go to the next town over. But maybe it got taken out just because it's like too much exposition. It answers a question I was really asking. I don't know. Interesting. He says, the beach is a cool place to hang out and soak up some rays. I wish there were more girls in this town, know what I mean? If you're a girl, he says, hey, do you want to hang out with me at the beach sometime? Do you have a swimsuit? You got to spend some time in the sun or else you'll get all pale. So he calls it a swimsuit. In the actual game, I think he calls it a bikini. Says, do you have a bikini? Looks like a good day to toss the football around, huh? I'd ask you to play catch, but you don't really seem like the football type. If you weren't a girl, I'd ask you to play catch. And if you answer, I'm fine just watching you from a distance, then he says, yes, and people aren't made for football. If you say, I want to play catch with you, he says, really cool, we'll have to play sometime. And I don't understand what this would be. I don't understand in what context he would say that. I guess working on a farm is kind of like sports. You got to practice to get good. Some people have to practice more than others. Hey bro, what's up? Hey, did you get new pants or something? Oh, I almost forgot. It's my day for doing push-ups. Every time I do push-ups, I try to do one more than last time. Pretty cool strategy. I think that's in the actual game. But yeah, it's interesting. Even in this version, he's got his like mild misogyny / flirting, right? And we can't quite tell. I would say we can't quite tell which one it is. It could be both, but it's like a tone thing. In that a lot of his lines have this little thingy where it changes if you're a boy or a girl. And it's interesting that that still exists in this early version. It's very core to his character. This masculinity. Sunday, sup? Yeah, I'm just chilling. He's so cool. Oh, Josh. Hey player, that's right, I remember your name. Hey player, want to hang out or something? I think those are in the actual thing. Oh, and then he tells you about his push-ups again for a second time. That's funny. He just really wants you to know. Player, don't you think it's fun to hang out with the beach? It's important to spend time with your friends. It's better to enjoy life than worry too much about fame and fortune, don't you think? I still want to go pro, but it's not the most important thing in the world. There's something like that. Yeah, see, this is his line from the actual game. I used to want fame and fortune, but lately I've been starting to sing a different tune. In the end, it's the humble little things that satisfy, don't you think? I still want to go pro, but it's not the most important thing in the world. As opposed to this. Yeah, so it's just a little bit more developed. I propped up my laptop because I'm slouching so much. My back's going to start hurting. Yeah, so it's kind of like how I was saying in the Shane video when I was talking about how I wasn't super happy with some of the 1.6 dialogue, how some of the new lines of dialogue, it was Shane being like, I think life is unfair. As opposed to like a sentence that would communicate that he thinks life is unfair subtly, right? And we can see in this early version, he's just like, it's better to enjoy life than worry about this other thing. And here he's like, it's the humble little things that satisfy, which is saying, it just says so much more in the way it communicates. It tells us a lot more about his character that, enjoying life is very vague, but the humble little things that satisfy, I've been thinking that as well recently, to be honest, like little things like I bought like 3 really nice mugs and then when I use them, it makes me happy because it's like, oh, it's my nice mug. I like to hold it. I like to use it. It's little things like that. It tells us that he's enjoying life, doesn't it? But like the specific things of life of like, his goals were like lofty. He was thinking about things far away from him, but now he's grounded in the here and now, right? It's the humble, specifically that word humble is very interesting. As opposed to like fame and fortune and stuff. But then, you know, you don't have that in the original version. Yeah, so it's just a certain development of the line, even though the sentiment is the same, which is interesting. If I don't turn pro, will you still like me? Thanks, that's more important to me. That's an interesting line. Okay, so then this one that says event beach seems to be an event that doesn't exist in the game, because Alex's 2-heart event is on the beach. Okay, yeah, so in his 2-heart event on the beach, I think the choice is like, I believe in you, I don't believe in you. But then it seems like it used to be something different, because here he's saying, of course you do, if you didn't, I think you were crazy, or really you must be some kind of a weirdo. So from what we know, I would say probably this choice used to be like, you know, he said something like, do you like the beach? And you would say, yes. And he'd be like, of course you do. And if you said no, he would think you were a weirdo, you know? Because this doesn't seem like the kind of response he would have if you said to him, like, I don't believe in you. I don't think he would be like, you must be some kind of weirdo. So yeah, that's a heart event that presumably used to be different. And then I think this is the same. This is the one, I think this is the 5-heart event where he says, oh, I'm like stupid. And then this must be, if you say he's a genius, he says, you're just trying to flatter me. And then if you say, yeah, you are stupid, he says, you're supposed to disagree with me. God, he just loves it in that corner. Mommy, you got me on camera. It's good for business. And then event parents. Parents, plural. He doesn't have any parents. That's an interesting thought. They would never do that. Maybe you're right. And we can't know what that's about. We don't know. We can only speculate. Because it says parents, plural, and so far, in spring at least, there's no reference to his mum. And he says they would never do that. Maybe it was something about his parents like being disappointed in him. I don't know. Let's keep going. Let's see what we can find. So summer. Okay. You probably already know that summer's my favourite season. So like Abigail, he also at the start of every season is like, it's different now. It's summer now. Yeah, that would get so old. If I practice a lot of sports this summer, maybe I'll turn pro. Then you'll be able to say you knew me once. I'm so glad we have a beach here. It's just too bad we couldn't get a volleyball game going. Hey, do you think I'll ever turn pro? You're going to be a sports legend. Maybe if you practice a lot, no, you'll fail and become a used car salesman. Wow. That is really harsh. I think... Yeah, see, this is the actual game. You just say salesman. You don't say used car salesman. Used car salesman feels very loaded. Reminds me of Gil from The Simpsons. And he says, thanks for believing in me. I'm probably not going to have to practice that much. You must be talking about yourself, loser. As opposed to... This is the actual game and it's so goofy. Yeah, he says, you're just jealous I'm way more popular than you'll ever be, freak. Get away from me. If you say you'll just be a salesman. He calls you a loser in this version, which is funny because so far everything's been a bit like tamped down from the pre-release version. But like in the actual release version, that's a lot more intense. And he calls you a freak. And you must be getting pretty strong working on that farm all day. Must be getting pretty fit working on that farm all day. Maybe you'll reach my level someday. Why do you have that look on your face? Sorry, my room is such a mess. I have more important things to worry about than how clean my room is. You should enjoy life while you still can, right? That's my motto. I got a new pair of shoes yesterday. My old pair had a brown smudge on the heel. Looks like your shoes are a little dirty, huh? So that's Sunday, no hearts. Sunday, 2 hearts. He says, I got a new pair of shoes yesterday. My old pair had a brown smudge on the heel. Wrong. Your shoes are a little dirty. That's fine too. Different people have different tastes. It's kind of, see, this is his character development, isn't it? Of him being like, different people have different tastes. But it's like, by 2 hearts, he's starting to see that. Just a bit soon of his character development. Thursday, 4 hearts. Hey, you look like you're really getting into great shape. All that farm work is paying off. Monday, 4 hearts. If I practice every day, I have a better shot at going pro. Wouldn't it be fun if you were friends with a pro athlete? That one's kind of repetitive of the one of, if I turn pro, you'll be able to say you knew me. Sorry, my room is so messy, it's hard to remember to clean. I'm trying to get better though. You know, I wouldn't mind being a farmer. I like being outdoors and doing things with my hands. Like I've said before, it seems kind of like sports. They say that getting rich ruins all your friendships. Money causes a lot of problems, I guess. See, that's interesting. Okay, so in this version, he's saying getting rich ruins all your friendships. Money causes a lot of problems, which I guess goes along with that line that we had from Spring that was like, you have to enjoy life. I don't want fame and fortune anymore. But then in the actual game, it changes to... If I ever make a lot of money, I'll make sure all of my friends and family are taken care of. That means you too. Which again is like the same idea, but with so much more character to it, you know? instead of just like, here's this thing I heard, I guess this thing, he's like very obviously prioritizing his friends and family at this point of 10 hearts instead of just like learning a generic lesson. So it's just, yeah, an improvement in the writing. A certain, I guess, yeah, honing in on the characters' voices. So we're going to go to Fool for Josh. Sure, it's getting colder, but it's still warm enough for sports. That's all I care about. My grandma told me I should spend more time studying. I was like, pshaw, Grams, don't fret, I'm turning pro. Studying is for nerds anyway. See, he does say that in the actual game, but he doesn't go, pshaw. Oh, Alex. Oh, Josh. Hey, I saw they have this cool sports wallpaper at Pierre's shop. I would get it if I had money to waste. Hey, man, do you think the girls dig my hair? Hey, how do you like my new hairstyle? It looks very fashionable. It looks like some kind of fungal growth. I think that's so funny, the fungal growth thing. Put too much gel in my hair today. It hurts. Don't touch it. What's up? Isn't your name like first name letter name or something? It's Blur? Okay, sorry. I think that's in the actual game as well. I have no idea how you would fucking do that. I don't know how they would code that. That seems complicated. I'm going to do a ton of setups tonight. I'm pretty dedicated, aren't I? I think you can find salmon in the river this time of year. At least that's what I heard. Hey, the football game's on today. Sundays are pretty awesome in the fall. What's up, player? I'm going to do a ton of setups tonight. God, he talks about his setups so much. His setups and his push-ups. It's very realistic as a person like who works out a lot and they just like never stop talking about it. My grandma told me I should spend more time studying. Maybe she's right. Okay, and then that opposed to, pshaw, don't fret. Don't even fret, Grams. Don't even fret. I've decided to stop putting gel in my hair. I wouldn't want to be friends with someone who only likes me because I have gel in my hair. Hi. Yeah, I think a lot of these are in the actual game. It's just like a lot more repetition, talking about his setups and shit. And then also we have our pshaw, of course. And then this like random thing about, oh, there's some cool sports wallpaper. I don't think that's in the actual game. It's a bit redundant. Let's look at winter. Winter is kind of lame. There's too much snow to do anything fun. I guess some people like it. I'm just looking forward to spring. Hey, can you go find Haley and tell her I said hi? People stay indoors a lot during the winter. If I read a book, maybe I'd be less bored. Nah. When I turn pro, I'll be so rich that I'll get a vacation home in the tropics. Then I won't have to deal with these boring winters. You came all the way through the snow to see me? I guess that makes sense. There's some weird people living in this town. Like that girl, Abigail. Is she a goth or something? I don't understand it. So everything up until this point, I think, is still in the game. But then this one, it's not about Abigail. It's about Sebastian. I think it's like that guy, Sebastian, why does he always wear black? Instead of talking about Abigail. So I wonder why that was changed from Abigail. All right, I'm getting cozy now. I'm going to do this. Yeah, so I wonder why that was changed to Sebastian. I mean, it's very pleasing as an Alex and Sebastian's shipper to have Alex be like, oh, that guy's so weird. And then it's like, oh, kiss. Maybe it just went a bit too heavy on the women hating, you know? Maybe it just made him a bit more unlikable, saying like, bashing this woman, you know? I don't know. Football game is on today. You came all the way through the snow to see me. The world is full of different kinds of people. It's interesting. Sometimes I don't understand why others act the way they do, but that's fine. Does he say that in the end? Oh, okay, he says this. I guess it's interesting that some people are totally different than us, you know? I don't always understand why others act the way they do, but that's fine. Yeah, it's basically the same sentiment, isn't it? It's literally just rearranged. So he says, I guess it's interesting, instead of ending it with, it's interesting. And he says, sometimes I don't understand. But then in the actual game, he says, I don't always understand. Yeah, it's just like a little reshuffling of the words. If you see Haley, tell her I'm busy, thanks. Then he says he's going to read a book. Says he wish he could control the weather. Oh, and he says this line. This is one from the actual game. So I guess that other one wasn't then like reworded. You know, the one about, oh, when you make a lot of money, you lose your friends. I guess it was just taken out. It wasn't like changed into this line, which makes sense. You wouldn't want two different lines about that kind of thing. It's a bit repetitive. I'm interested in the Haley of it all. Because always I am, because I love her. Yeah, so it's still at 4 hearts where he says, tell him I'm busy. Interesting. All right, so overall, now we've looked at Josh, aka Alex. I wonder why it was changed from Josh to Alex. I don't know. A lot of it seems like that, you know, I was saying like, oh, this line got changed to this line, and it's just like, you can see so much more about his character, right? That's just me theorizing, because a lot of like subtle little writing changes like that, it's just like, it just reads better. Like people sometimes ask me, what's your like writing process? What was your thought process behind that? Where do your ideas come from? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, I don't fucking know. It just comes. It just happens. Like you read a line and then you edit it to be different and you can't really explain why. You're just like, well, it just reads better, you know? Like this one about the world is full of different kinds of people it's interesting, as opposed to, I guess it's interesting that some people are totally different than us, you know? Like, I guess this second one reads as a bit more conversational, but it is essentially just the exact same line. So there's not much point of me sitting here and being like, I think it was changed to this, from this to this. Because it's just like, as a writer, you're just like, well, I like that better, you know? So yeah, Alex, once again, same kind of person, not really much to dig into there in how he's changed. I think it was interesting the thing it said about event parents. And then he didn't have any lines about his mum or anything. Although, to be fair, I don't think he has any lines about his mum outside of heart events in the actual game. But the fact that it says parents, plural, and they would never do that. Presumably his parents were still alive. Let's look. I wonder if, Evelyn is still here. Yeah, Evelyn has a file, and all of these lines seem to be her legit lines from the game. But then, yeah, all the characters do kind of, in this weird pre-release folder, do tend to be at different stages of development. Like, you know, for example, Shane's file, just saying me, Shane, right? And then you have someone like Marnie, whose lines are pretty much done. And then also the fact that Jazz doesn't have a file at all. It's like, it's not like this was at some fixed point before release, you know? I don't know. It's weird. And it's also interesting, there's this file called Rival, where clearly you used to have a rival in the game at some point. Stardew Hero Celebration. I'm just like looking at this artifact, trying to pick out what I can. It's mostly for just entertainment. I just think it's funny. Some of these lines are really funny. So alphabetically, who's third? Elliott. All right, let's jump into Elliott. This is Elliott in the spring. The new farmer we've all been expecting. I'm Elliott. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm kind of new to the town myself, but I really feel at home. I moved here only a year before you. Hope you've come to think of this place as home. I suggest you spend some time studying the clouds and the waves. You might discover something new. A lot of this is very similar so far. Oh, this is interesting. Look at this. Okay. Thursday at 2 Hearts. Lately, I've been thinking about writing a novel. I want to accomplish something great before it's too late. That's interesting, because his whole thing is that he's writing a book. That's like one of the first things he tells you. I moved here to write my book. All his heart events are about his fucking book, you know? But then in this version, he's like, maybe I'll write a book. So that's interesting. I guess he's just like a writer. I think this line about the clouds and the waves isn't in the actual version. That's kind of interesting. The sweet friction of pen and paper is the music of my soul. That's why I chose this beach as my home, so that I could have peace and quiet to do my work. Yeah, so he is still a writer. The forest is a wondrous place. Have you been there? Sorry, I'm feeling morose today. I wish there was more certainty about the future. Don't want to grow old as a lonely hermit on this beach. Lately, I've been thinking about writing a novel. Yeah, we saw that. Sometimes I wonder if I might just have an inflated self-image and no real skills. No, I'm not fishing for compliments. See, that's in the game, but he goes, no, I'm not fishing for compliments, though they are appreciated. Which I think is really funny. Yeah, so that's another thing that's just like nailing down the character a little bit more. Confidence. A confidence in the characters. The other day when it was raining, I thought I saw a strange man standing on the beach. When I blinked, he was gone. Ooh. Ooh. That makes sense that you would take that line out, because that kind of hints at something, like a plot event that never comes to pass. Sorry, I know this might be a little strange for me to talk to you about, but sometimes I wonder if I'm doing the right thing with my life. Just based off my looks, what would you think I am? And you can answer a pirate, a short order cook, an old goat. He's the goat. Oh, my camera's overheating. Okay, my camera overheated. Where was I? Oh yeah, okay. So an old goat, a model, a silly boy trying too hard to be cool. If you call him a pirate, he says, a life of adventure on the high seas. I think I could live with that. If you say, what's this one? A short order cook. Goodness, that isn't what I'd hoped to hear. There's a typo there as well. Just in case, Eric, you're watching. If you say a silly boy, he says, for goodness sake, you must be the rudest person I've ever met. If you say he looks like a model, he says, a model? Oh, well, thanks. That's very nice of you to say. It's very humble of him. Yeah, because he doesn't say that thing of, no, I'm not fishing for compliments, though they are appreciated. And then he seems, quite, taken off guard if you say he looks like a model. So I guess this version of Elliott is a lot more humble, less glam, I guess. Be careful in my cabin. There might be spiders lurking about. Some people are shy. Keep showing interest in them and they'll get comfortable around you. Everyone likes to have friends, even that grumpy blacksmith. I think that's in the actual game. Hello, I trust everything is panning out as you'd hoped. Feel free to visit my cabin anytime you like. Oh, player, I was hoping you'd show up. It's always a pleasure to see you. Event idea. That's an interesting thought. I'll take it into consideration. Yeah, presumably that's similar to the 2-heart event where you tell him what kind of book to write. Because it says idea. And he says he'll take it into consideration. Event toast. Oh yeah, and then that's from the actual game as well. When, although it's slightly different. Oh yes, This one, presumably, you can toast to yourself because he says, well, okay, here's to player name. So when he says, what should we toast to? You can say me. I love that. I wish you could still pick that. All right, that was Elliott and Spring. So far, I'm thinking he's a more humble king. And yeah, it's interesting that he's not writing a book. All right, Elliott Summer. This morning I awoke to the sun's gentle embrace. I'm sorry if that isn't very interesting to you. I think something like that is in the game. I know that I'm kind of an oddball. I hope you don't mind. Player, I know you have faith in my abilities as a writer. That means a lot to me. I've encountered some beautiful shells in front of my house. I would imagine the rarer varieties to be quite valuable. I write in hopes of connecting with others through time and space. Times are changing though. People don't read anymore. That is true. I don't read anymore. I used to fucking consume books when I was younger. And in the last 2 years, I've read half a book. So I'm going to try and read more. I just ordered a bunch of books. So I probably won't read them. I'll probably just because they look nice. But ordering books and reading books are two different activities. It must be satisfying to follow your crop from seed to harvest. It's as if your essence is infused into the fruit. Oh dear, my shoes are filled with sand. That's the trouble with living on the beach. I didn't even mean to, but I've been reading them in my Elliott voice. Player, you look puzzled. I guess the hot summer air can make us a little dizzy. Ugh, I hope I don't get sunburnt. You came all the way here just to talk to me? How kind. Visit my cabin whenever you like. I could use the company. So yeah, a lot of these are in the actual game as far as I remember. The ones that aren't, I think he says, oh, I hope I don't get sunburnt. I don't think that's in the game. I think that's it. I think everything else is in the actual game. So Elliott clearly was pretty fully formed as a character, which makes sense. He's got a very strong voice to him, doesn't he? He's got a strong sense of identity. And that's interesting as well, because so far we've done Alex and Abigail, and they're some of the younger characters, so they are less sure of themselves because they're younger. But I guess Elliott, as an older bachelor, it makes sense that he's just like right out of the gate with this very strong personality, you know? Because I find that as I'm getting older, because I'm 28 now, that I'm just like more sure of myself. And I know more what I'm about, you know? Because I always used to be like, what kind of music do you like? I like all music. What's your favourite TV show? I like all TV shows. Or like things like that, you know? But now I'm like, okay, I actually do have a personality that I could nail down a little bit. Okay, so this is Elliott in fall. Hello, player. Make sure and take breaks from your work now and then. Come visit me if you need a break from your labours. I'm usually at my house. It's been said that a pirate ship full of plundered gold shipwrecked here a long time ago. That might explain the gold coin I found buried in the sand. There's a lot of pirate talk in these early versions, because we had that with Abigail as well, when she talked about the bard. A lot of pirate talk. Don't make sense from him because he lives on the beach. Player, I was just thinking about you. Maybe you sensed it. So tell me about your day. I wouldn't mind trying my hand at farming. Living on a farm might be a good source of literary inspiration. Nay. Does he say that? Let me find Elliott's actual from 1.6. So what does he say? If I just search farming. Oh yeah, see, I knew it. The quiet atmosphere of a farm might be a good source of literary inspiration, don't you think? As opposed to pre-release. Living on a farm might be a good source of literary inspiration. Nay. That doesn't even really make sense. That's funny. Oh dear, a tiny crab appears to have made his home in my shirt pocket. That's the trouble with living on the beach. I love that line. My legs are stiff from sitting at my writing desk all night. Sometimes I envy you, player. That's so real. My body hurts so much just from like sitting. Player, when you're around, I feel unusually creative. I'm sorry, but it's true. It gets windy this time of year. I love it. That's unrealistic. If he has that much hair, I don't think he would love it that much. Because as someone with a lot of hair, it just makes it tangled. I have to remember to water my plants today, and not with seawater this time. Oh, Elliott, what you like? All right. Yeah, again, a lot of these are still in the actual game. It's funny that the nay got taken out though. It was a bit much. It's a bit much. I know that he's supposed to be very literary, but yeah, that was a bit much. All right, I'm getting a bit cold now, finally. So I'm going to do cozy vibes, like I said I was going to do. Oh, look at us. Look how cozy we are. Love it. Did you notice that I matched my nails to the shirt that I wore? Did you notice? Because I did do that on purpose. All right, look at us all snuggled up. This is cute. Oh, I could light the candle. Should I light the candle? Wow. This is real Elliott vibes. I'll have to try not to set fire to this plant. I'm going to use a different candle. I'm going to use a smaller candle. There we go. Look at us. Cozy vibes. Oh, sorry, Mummy. If only Marmite wanted to be in the frame. Oh, that would be so cozy. But no, he's literally just there. I'll make a cup of tea later. That'd be nice. All right. So we're on winter. Where is he? You've come to visit me in the cold. I could do with a respite from my lonely labours. Player, you've trudged through the snow to visit me. I'm honoured. People have scripted living off the sea for thousands of years. I just go to the grocery store. These are all in the actual game. Player, I had a feeling... Typo. I had a feeling that you would show up. Perhaps we're connected by an otherworldly thread. That's also in the game. A day can never be boring when you follow the whims of your imagination. Sorry, am I babbling on about nonsense? I have a habit of spouting lofty nonsense, don't I? See, that's in the actual game, but it's different. If I look it up. Yeah, a day can never be boring when you follow the whims of your imagination. Sorry, am I babbling on about nonsense? That's from the actual game. But in this one, he says, I have a habit of spouting lofty nonsense, don't I? Yes, you do, Elliot. Yes, you do. Yeah, it's a bit self-aware. So I understand why that got taken out. Breathe deeply. Do you notice it? That's the smell of the sea. How does it make you feel? Breathe deeply. Do you notice it? That's the smell of the sea. Whenever I smell the sea, it reminds me of being a child. The ocean really impressed me as a child. I have to brush my hair daily, or else it'll clump up into messy knots. It's a lot of work. I'm surprised I haven't just shaved it off in a fit of passion. I suppose I am too vain. Does he say, is that what he says? Yeah, that's the exact same as he says in the actual game. Brushing your hair daily, is that really that big of a deal? Oh, I have to brush my hair every day. Yeah, doesn't everyone do that? Sometimes I have to brush my hair multiple times a day. I've been doing little indoor exercises since it's often too cold to go out, so it's a little humid in the cabin. I really should scrub my floorboards today. I think an algae is starting to form. Do you make time for cleaning? Yeah, the majority of that is in the actual game. I think it's interesting that we took out the... you took out the... I have a habit of spouting lofty nonsense. Yeah, it's just a bit self-aware. Oh, and that's the end. Okay. Yeah, Elliot, very, very, very similar to how he ends up in the actual game. Yeah, it's like I said, like, because he's an older character, he's an older bachelor, he's got this very strong characterization, it makes sense that he would be quite fully formed, because he's quite easy to write for and about, like, he's got a very strong tone of voice. I notice it in, like, reading fan fiction and stuff, and even writing fan fiction. It's like, personally anyway, I find it quite easy to write him because he's got such a strong voice. And then I also don't often read him out of character because I think it's quite easy to get, like, a grip on his character. Going deeper into him, I think, is a whole different thing because a lot of people have their own interpretations of, like, the inner machinations of Elliot. But I think getting his surface level tone of voice is quite straightforward. So that's interesting. I do wonder about his heart events because that's where you really start to see the depth to him. But we'll never know. We'll never know. Okay, so after Elliot, we got Emily. All right, so Emily and Spring. Welcome to Stardew Valley. My name is Emily. I think you're going to fit right in here. See, that's similar to what she says now, because what she says now is, oh, I can read it on your face. You're going to love it here in Pelican Town. If you're ever looking for something to do in the evening, stop by the saloon. That's where I work. So it's like friendly, you're going to have a good time here. But then, yeah, in the actual version, it's more, I guess it's more like the spirituality of like, I can feel it. Oh, I can feel it. You're going to love it here, you know? Haley is my sister. She's quite a bit different than me, but I still love her. Then again, I love everyone. Hey, we're all just colourful little... I'm sorry, that came out of nowhere because so far we've been reading these and I've been like a little bit disappointed in my head because it's like none of them are that crazy. It's mostly just the same thing from the actual game, but like a bit different, right? And then I read, we're all just colourful little feathers of the great eagle of life. I feel like that's healed me. That's healed something inside of me. Reading that. Oh, that's amazing. I need that as a tattoo. All just colourful little feathers on the great eagle of life. Love it. We got to have love for each other if we want to soar. Sorry if that was a little cheesy. See you later. Amazing. Amazing. Show-stopping. I wish Haley would get a job or really contribute to cooking and cleaning. I think she's hoping to marry some rich guy. I work part-time at Gus's Saloon, but I'm also trying to start my own tailoring business. Oh, that's interesting, because in the actual game, she doesn't say she's trying to start a business, she just says my passion is tailoring. She never says she's going to try and start a business or anything. And that was part of what I talked about in her video of like, it's not that she's not ambitious, but she just like is happy where she is. You know, her ambitions are like for peace and for mental wellness, I guess. So it's interesting that in this version, she was like trying to start a business. It's very capitalist. It's very anti-Emily. That's weird. I think this town might be located near a powerful energy vortex. Let me know if you feel any unusual energy fluctuations. I hope you don't think I'm crazy. I'm not. Your produce is organic, right? You can say, of course. And it's also non-GMO. Nope. Organic is for hippies. I don't even know what that means. Perfect. I knew you were a friend of the earth. That's if you say yes. It makes me sad that you think that. That's if you say it's for hippies. If you say you don't know what it means, she says, never mind. Well, I mean, presumably it is organic. Otherwise, was there a version of Stardew Valley where you could put pesticides on your crops? To be honest, I don't know what GMO is. Another beautiful spring day. I bet Elliot could describe those clouds beautifully with a poem. Have you met Elliott? He lives in that old shack on the beach. Interesting, because I don't think she says anything about him in the finished game. Let's have a look. Yeah, no, she doesn't. She doesn't say anything about him. Huh. I guess they knew each other in this version. That would be a crazy ship, Elliott and Emily. I like making my own clothes, but it's not easy to get cloth, and it's such a long trip to the city. Hi, player, do you raise sheep in your barn? You can turn their wool into beautiful bolts of cloth. You'll need a loom, though. You can make them yourself. This house was left in Haley and my care by my parents. They've been travelling the world for the last 2 years. We have no idea when they'll be back. I enjoy living here, though. It's a beautiful area and the town is nice. There's something like that in her actual dialogue. Yeah, this house was left in our care by my parents. Yeah, she says basically the exact same thing, but worded a bit better. So then we've got the event dialogue. So the dance is her 6 heart scene. She does a little dance for you. So I guess you can say it was good. She says thank you. And then if you say you don't like it, she says, okay, sorry you didn't like it. I guess those 3 months of practice were a complete waste. That doesn't sound very Emily. The Emily that we know and love would not really care if you didn't like it, surely. Yeah, because this line implies that she practiced for 3 months for you, just to do this dance for you. When the impression that I get is that she is mostly doing it for herself and she's just like showing you as a way of like reaching out to you, trying to establish some kind of friendship, you know? But I don't think Emily, as she turns out, would be like, oh, I guess that was a waste of time. Like, if she enjoyed doing it, then it wasn't a waste of time, right? I think that's what she would think. All right, let's look at Summer. Haley is a picky eater. It's hard to cook for her. Why do people have different tastes? Are we born with certain tastes or are they acquired through experience? These are some of life's great questions, huh? See you later. Hello there, player. I feel lazy today. Hi, player. We've become decent friends, haven't we? That's fine with me. You're a cool guy. Or, I'm glad. It's weird that would change so much based on your gender. Because there's something like this in the final version. Oh, no, she does say that in the final version. She says, that's fine with me. You're a cool guy. Or, I'm glad. Weird. It doesn't rain much in summer, does it? That just means more watering work for you, huh? Or do you enjoy the sunny weather? Bees and butterflies are my special friends. If I wasn't so busy, I'd come help me on the farm, but Gus would be upset if I had another job. Don't overwork yourself or you might end up in Harvey's clinic. Hi, player. I mean, this one's kind of interesting. Yeah, there doesn't seem to be a line like this in the finished game. Okay, yeah, so in the finished game, she just says, Haley's a picky eater. It's so hard to cook for her. But then here we have this whole like, you know, where does taste come from? What's the nature of art and individual perception? Is it innate? Is nature versus nurture? You know, she's thinking those life's great questions, but that was cut. That did not make the cut. Her pondering. So let's get into fall. Well, fall is here. Time to plant some new crops, huh? Good weather for a picnic, isn't it? If I didn't have to work, I'd suggest we go on a nice picnic. I haven't been on a picnic in years. Years. I think I was like a child. It's probably because my husband doesn't like eating outside because he really hates wasps. There is he will run. He will run. Hello, did you have a good summer? Hi, player. I bet your farm did great this summer, huh? You're an excellent farmer. My friend runs a shop in the desert. If you ever go there, stop in and say hi for me. I think she sells some rare products. Are you friends with Clint? Ugh, skip that one. Another beautiful fall day. It's a pity it'll soon be over. Keep your mind open and some interesting things might take root. Anyway, how's your day going? I don't have any huge plans. See, this is interesting because this one is in the actual game. I prefer not to stress about the future too much. I don't have any huge plans. But then there's that line in this pre-release version where she said that she wants to start a tailoring business. And I would say that's a pretty huge plan, right? To start a business. I don't know. Nothing like a sunny Sunday to lift the spirits. That should be a capital S. I can't help it. This is why I'm a very good editor or like beta for people's fan fictions and things like that. Like I can't not notice it most of the time. I mean, some stuff slips by. Not perfect, but it's the tism. And then I'll just be like, there's a typo. I can't not mention it, you know? You're such a nice person, player. Thanks for being my friend. Cute. I think a lot of that, yeah, is in the actual, maybe all of it. I think all of it's in the game. Interesting. Let's look at winter. Be careful an icicle doesn't fall on your head. Be careful an icicle doesn't fall on your head. I wouldn't want my best friend to get hurt. Oh, she calls you her best friend. That's cute. Because I think in the actual game, she just says, let's look at icicle. I wouldn't want you to get hurt. Yeah, she doesn't call you her best friend. That's cute though. Oh, hello player. You must be getting very good at farming by now. I bet you're an excellent farmer by now. Haley and I aren't made for such a big house. It's a hassle to keep it clean. Oh well, I really shouldn't be complaining. Your farmhouse seems nice and cozy. Must be so cold for the poor fish. I wonder if fish hibernate. Does she say that in the actual game? Oh, she does. And she says maybe I should ask Demetrius. Interesting. If I wasn't so busy, I'd help you dig around in that cave by the lake. I bet there are some powerful crystals in there. Do you know how to cook bean hot pot? Hi. Yes. My sister and I might fight sometimes, but I'd really miss her if she left. I think that she'll become a very nice young lady someday. Don't tell her I said that. So is there anything you want to talk about? Whenever I read, this is so niche. Well, it's not that niche, but whenever I read like young lady, I think about season 5 of Love Island UK. I think it's Curtis refers to Amy as like a talented young lady or something. Iconic. All right, well, that's the end of Emily. Not that much different. I mean, there was the thing about how she wants to start a business. They took out some more of her kind of machinations, thinking about, you know, the nature of taste and stuff. And then there was the thing about, we're just all colourful feathers on the eagle of life or whatever she said. Oh, that really got me. That tickled me. That tickled me good. Yeah, it was really funny. Yeah, but again, a pretty fully formed character. I think the subtleties to her are still to come. She's not so much a crystal girly in this one, is she? She doesn't seem very woo-woo. Yeah, it's more of a subtle quirk. She's more quirky in this one as opposed to like, I don't know, however she ends up, I suppose. However you would describe her in the final version. All right, so after Emily, we've got Hayley, if we're going alphabetically. Oh, you're that new farmer boy, aren't you? Oh, you're that new farmer girl or whatever, aren't you? Huh? Oh, I'm Hayley. Later. Teddy bears are so cute. Giggle. Wow. This town is so small. It sucks. I have to drive like 20 miles to buy any decent clothes. That's why I usually just order online. What? Nice shoes or nice makeup? Oh, right, okay. Either she says nice shoes, are those made out of plastic, or she says nice makeup. Are you even wearing any? And she says, I'm bored. The only thing I like about this town is the beach. Do you think there's something wrong with that? Wait, yeah, I don't think she says... Yeah, in the finished version of the game, she just says, the only thing I like about this town is the beach, as opposed to, do you think there's something wrong with that? So that's interesting, because Hayley, as she is in the final game, she wouldn't ask you something like that. She wouldn't say, do you think there's something wrong with that? Because there's not in her mind. You know, that's just how she is. She's not really thinking about that kind of thing. But I guess in this version, she's a bit more self-conscious, or I don't know. The camera overheated again, so I made a cup of tea. Oh, okay. So she says, today I need to organise my clothes. It's a pretty big undertaking. I'll have to throw out all of last year's styles to make room for the new ones. I wish I could eat a cupcake rather than do all that work. I think she says something similar. She says, I could really go for a cupcake right now, instead of I wish I could eat a cupcake rather than do all that work. Which I guess makes sense, because you can eat a cupcake and do work at the same time. There's a lot of dialogue in here for just spring. All right, so she says, don't you get tired of running around on that farm all day or whatever it is you do? I couldn't stand getting all dirty like that. You probably get a nice tan though. I think that's in the game. She says, I get hungry on the weekends. Everyone starts cooking and the air smells great. What kind of food do you like best? Stir fry, fettuccine alfredo, cupcakes, vegan sausage. If you say anything except for cupcakes, she says gross. But I guess everyone likes different stuff. If you say cupcakes, she says, me too, they're so tasty, aren't they? I like mine with pink frosting. That's definitely not, none of this is in the game. Which makes sense, because her characterization, I don't think she would be asking you a question like that. Yeah, I don't think she would really care about you enough to ask that kind of question. Let me double check. I'll look at the wiki. Yeah, see, she doesn't ask you what kind of food you like. She says like, what do you even do all day being a farmer? And also, what do you think I should do? So it's more about herself. And also like being vaguely condescending. That's our girl. My sister's so weird. Sometimes I wonder if we're actually related. There are only 2 things I like about this town. One of them is the beach. The other is a secret. That's in the game. I wonder if any nice shells washed up on the beach this morning. This isn't the best time here for shells. I'm glad that the flowers are starting to bloom. I need to find some kind of hobby other than shopping. I've decided I want to expand my horizons. Maybe I should start playing the piccolo. Doesn't she say... Oh yeah, okay. So she says start playing the mini harp. Because a piccolo is like a flute. A piccolo is just a small flute. I mean, you could probably get more specific with it, but as a former flute player, I think of everything through the lens of flutes. So piccolo is just a small flute. So I wonder why that was changed. Maybe because Abigail plays the flute, it was a bit too similar. Yeah, maybe the interpretation could have been, oh, like Hayley wants to be more like Abigail, but then they didn't want that. I say they. Eric. I used to complain about this town being so small, but I've grown to like it. That was in the game. Cooked dinner last night. It turned out okay. Do you ever go to Gus's saloon? That's spelled wrong. My sister works there. It's the only place that's open late. I don't think that that's in... Yeah, that's not in the game. That's a bit... Yeah, it's a bit too exposition-y. Also, by this point, if you're at 6 Hearts with her, you probably know that, right? That the saloon opens late if you've been playing long enough. I was at the beach the other day and I found a seagull with her wings caught in a plastic net, so I set her free. It was sad, though. She looked so innocent. There's something like that in... I just keep going to check the actual thing. Yeah, yesterday I found a seagull with her wing caught in a net. I set her free. Of course, she looks so helpless, the poor thing. Can we go on an adventure someday? I've never been on an adventure. That's cute. That's a cute line. And then this event seems to be similar. I don't think that that's what she says.
when you tell her to do the cleaning, though. No, I'm not going to do it. You guys are both being stupid. And then the one with the jar. Yeah, that's probably the same. That's her 4-heart event where she gets you to open a jar. And then her musical theme is called Pickle Jar Rag at the beach. I think this one's a bit different. I think she says, like, I hope someone finds it. I can't stand the thought of it just being at the bottom of the ocean. And then this seems entirely unknown. See, that's interesting. I used to like Alex, but not anymore. He's immature. So her arc was still about, you know, maturing in a certain way. That sounds fun, but I wouldn't want to leave Stardew Valley right now. What's an android? What? Why would they talk about androids? Fascinating. I wonder. All right, Haley and Summer. Do you have baby bunnies on your farm? Bunnies are so cute. I'm gonna get a nice tan this summer. Ew, you're all dirty. Yes, I didn't hear you. I was thinking about something else. You stay in the sun a lot, it'll make your hair lighter. It's a good thing to know. I wonder what Josh is doing today. Farming sounds so boring. What do you even do all day? And then, yeah, that is in the game. Emily usually cooks dinner, but she makes weird stuff like quinoa. Do you wear those clothes every day? Hey, I found this new tool to open jars with. Yeah, a lot of this is in the game. I think all of this is in the game. Does she say about bunnies? Oh, she does, yeah. Bunnies are so cute. It's so hot today. I wish I had some ice cream. It's been 3 hours practicing my signature. If you stay in the sun... Did I read that one already? That's in here twice. Thursday, 6 hearts. Oh, okay, it's different. If you stay in the sun a lot, it'll make your hair lighter, but you don't want to get sunburn. I want a healthy amount of sunlight. Interesting. I should start reading books. It's good to learn things, isn't it? I only ever look at magazines, mainly at the pictures. I talked to my sister for a while last night. I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. Don't tell her I said so. Seems like a good day to go swimming. It might actually be beautiful to live in the country. If I lived in the city, I might start to miss all the trees. Player, I think I've been hanging out with you too much. Oh, hi. Do you like kids? Hi kids, do you like violence? And then there's all the event stuff again. It's interesting. So this is a finished game. She says that same line about wanting to be in the sun, but then she just adds this line at the end that says everything in moderation, as opposed to pre-release where she doesn't say that. So it's an interesting sentiment of like perspective, right? I think when you're younger, yeah, like I heard that thing of like, oh, I had this thing of like, if you put lemon juice on your hair and then you sit in the sun, like it makes it lighter. I think I did that once because you just read something like that and you're like, I'm going to do it because I want this thing. But then when you're older, you think like, well, no, that's dumb. That's going to probably ruin my hair. Things like that. Just like, yeah, perspective, like being able to think wider about things, broaden your landscape. And that's kind of like what her arc is, right? It's like the broadening of her landscapes, a bit of perspective. She has a very narrow worldview that then like widens. So it's interesting that that got added, I guess, to like emphasize the arc. Everything in moderation. All right, so this is fall. She says it's fall already. Gross when all those fallen leaves get slimy. That should be leaves. Something smells weird. You feel wacko on the farm, huh? I can't talk, I'm texting someone. I don't think that that's in the... Yeah, that's not in the finished game. So that's similar to Abigail, I guess, when Abigail used to have a pen pal, she used to like talk to people online, and then that got taken out. Yeah, like you want to emphasize this sense of like isolation of the town. Because if you imply that people can text, then it's like, well, why doesn't the player have a phone? Why doesn't everyone have a phone that can text, like a smartphone? You know, is that a grass stain on your knee? Sorry, I'm allergic to grass. Too cold to go to the beach anymore. What should I do today? I think that's in the actual game. Yeah, well, she says, what should I do today? But the options are different. You can say watercolor painting as opposed to paint your nails. I've never been to the forest. It's muddy and I could get a blister on my foot. Oh yeah, and then here we go. Send me a text. It's like, well, I don't have a phone. I like the kind of ambiguity of the time period that it's set in. Because in my last video, I said about the secret note number 11. It's like it's black and white. Marnie looks kind of 80s. And some people were like, well, then surely it's from like 30 years ago. But it's like, Stardew Valley like sometimes seems like it's set in like the 90s. Sometimes seems like it's not set in the 90s. You can get a computer, but it's like a huge deal to having a computer. But then also Sebastian's like a software engineer, you know. So it's like the ambiguity of the time period. If you could text, then it wouldn't be that ambiguous, would it? Shopping just doesn't sound as fun as it used to. I think I'll just highlight the interesting ones. I don't need to read all of them because a lot of them are just repeated. Yeah, because I think all of those are ones that are still in the game. Because otherwise I'll be here all day. Okay, so this is winter. What brand is your shirt? Oh, never mind. I want to move somewhere warmer. I wish someone would bring me a peppermint coffee. Don't even bother. I know you won't be able to make one. There's something about that on her wiki page, I think, of peppermint coffee. Yeah, there we go. All right, so in the finished game, it says, I wish someone would bring me a peppermint coffee. Don't even bother. I know you won't be able to make one. And then it says that in this file as well. But then on her wiki page, it references this thing from this dev update talking about peppermint coffee. So whenever this was... 2013. So whatever this was must be before this version that we're looking at because the line is different. You see what I mean? Interesting. 2013, I was 16.
We're going to start writing a list of all the clothes I need for next spring. Do you have a pony on your farm? The only good thing about winter is I get to sleep more. I like at least 10 hours of sleep every night. Oh, same, girly. I do not get it, but I like it. We say hi to Josh for me. Is anything exciting happening on your farm? And then that, I think, is in the finished game, yeah. Maybe I'll donate some of my skirts to a charity this spring. I do have over 1,000 skirts. Yeah, that's in the finished game. 1,000 skirts, that's bonkers. 100, if she'd said 100 skirts, that would be like, girl, that's a lot of skirts, right? 1,000?
£1,000! £1,000! Nothing three these days! No.
How big is her room? How big is her wardrobe? 1,000. I don't even own 1,000 pieces. I don't think I even own 100 pieces of clothing. Oh, no, that's probably not true. But yeah, that's my suspension of disbelief is broken. I do not think that anyone in the world owns 1,000 skirts. If you see Josh, could you tell him I'm busy? Wish it were warmer here in Stardew Valley. This is all stuff that's in the game. Cool, okay. Yes, Hayley seems pretty well developed because a lot of the pre-release lines are in the game. Yeah, but then there was the thing of everything in moderation, right, being added. So yeah, just like a... That's just what tends to happen, yeah. Like I said, as you go through the drafts, things just get kind of more concentrated. Yeah, no, I think she's pretty much the same. Pretty much just Hayley being Hayley, you know. Good for her. Good for her. All right, so Hayley and then Harvey. Oh, Harvey. Harvey might be interesting. Okay, Harvey in spring. Hi, player. That is your name, right? That's such an interesting thing for him to say. I keep needing to double check whether they're in the actual game because like me being like, oh, I can't believe he used to say that. And it's like, well, what if he still says that? And then I'm just wrong. No, I am right. He doesn't say that anymore. Interesting. Feel responsible for the health of the whole community. I think he says that in the actual game. Do you have any medical questions? He says you have a healthy glow. I don't think he says that in... Oh, he does. That's interesting. He used to say, player, you have a really healthy glow. That's good. Now he just says you have a really healthy glow. That's good. He's not like, psyched to tell you. I think this is all stuff that he says in the actual game. Oh, interesting. Okay, so the original version was at 8 hearts and he says, Sigh, I'm starting to feel kind of old, player. But if I try, I can keep a youthful outlook on life, right? I think it helps that you're around. But in the actual game, he says, Sigh, I'm starting to feel kind of old. And it's at 10 hearts. Sigh, I'm starting to feel kind of old. The older you get, the more memories you're burdened with. It can be overwhelming. I think I'll stay younger with you around. So, the burden of memories. It's very, I don't know. Hints at something, doesn't it? Yeah, it does hint at some kind of backstory. What memories is he burdened with? Type thing. Interesting. What will I do if I can't afford to run my clinic anymore? I can't just abandon everyone. Yeah, he doesn't say that's not in the finished game. I guess that's a bit heavy. I mean, quite a lot of this is heavy, you know, with all the George stuff. I guess maybe this just hints again at some kind of plot point. Like, you know, we said with the Elliott one, when it was like he looked out his window and he saw a man on the beach. As a player, when you're playing a game and something like that happens, you tend to think in your head, well, I do at least, oh, that's an important piece of information, right? You know, feel like when you're watching a movie or something and someone coughs and it's like, oh, well, they're gonna die. Right, and then most of the time they do. It like... You're kind of trained to like pick up on these little hints or like something that might be foreshadowing. So I guess maybe that got taken out in case people thought, oh, he's like, this is going to be a plot point that he's not going to be able to afford to run his clinic. Or maybe, yeah, there just wasn't any point saying it if it doesn't go anywhere. So this event with George looks similar to how it is in the game of either you can back him up on what he's saying to George or you can go against it. And then this is the one where he gives you a checkup. Hospitals make you nervous. Grave. Okay, so his 2 heart event is the one with George. His 4 heart event is the one where you go to him for a checkup. His 6 heart event is the one where he's doing the exercise. He's in the exercise class. His 8 heart event is the one with the planes. Grave? There's nothing about a grave. So, because we theorized, many people theorized that Harvey like lost a patient at some point in the past, right? Because he's always talking about this burden of responsibility. He's like, oh, I got people's lives in my hands. It's a big pressure, burdened with memories, things like that. So yeah, a lot of people theorize that at some point he lost a patient and maybe that's why he moved to Pelican Town to like put it behind him. So the fact that this is by a grave and the fact that you can answer or that you can say something and he says you're right, or he just sighs. So that makes me think that I'm writing this entire heart event in my mind based off very little information. But it's like, you find him standing by a grave and he says, this is a patient, they died under my care, blah, 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 blah. Do you think I did something wrong, player? And you can say to him like, it wasn't your fault. You did everything you could. And he would say, you're right, thanks. Or you can go, yeah, you fucked it up. And then he just goes, sigh. Right? That sounds plausible to me. Wow. We're learning so much today, you guys. But then, yeah, maybe that got taken out just because it was a bit much with the George one as well. You don't want all his heart events to just be like a huge bummer.
What's up, gamers? Editing Fiona here. Don't look at how messy my room is. You looked, didn't you? I fucking told you not to. I just had another thought as I was watching this. What if the grave is George? What if the grave was George? What if George died in an early version of the game? I just looked at Evelyn's and George's pre-release dialogue to see. I don't know why there would be anything in George's pre-release dialogue about him dying. But I couldn't see anything. You know, there wasn't a line from Evelyn in her pre-release dialogue being like, my husband died. But it's just a thought I had. Because that would be, you know, I mean, there's no basis in any of this. We're just speculating wildly. But why not wildly speculate about people in the actual town instead of this being like his backstory, right? Wouldn't it make sense for his two-heart scene, him to be like, oh, George, you're gonna die. And then he does die, right? And then also the choice you get of like, presumably, I agree with you, Harvey, you did something right. Or you did something wrong, Harvey, very much mirrors the two-heart scene with George, where you also say, I agree with you, Harvey, I don't agree with you, Harvey. Right? That would make sense. Don't know. That's a crazy thought I had. Just think about death.
All right, we are in summer now. He says this stuff in the game. Oh, this is all basically, this is the same as spring. That's weird. That's the exact same. That's the first time that's happened. Because with Shane's pre-release dialogue file, if you go on spring, summer, autumn, winter, they're all the same. But for all the other characters, as we've been able to see, they're different. But this is the exact same. So that's strange. I wonder if it's going to be the same for all of them. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's the same. Okay, that's interesting. So Harvey was probably written pretty late because like 95% of this dialogue did end up in the game. But then more was added, right? Because there's lines on the wiki that like aren't in this file. Yeah, so I would guess that he was probably one of the later characters to be written. So he didn't need a bunch of editing. He's pretty happy with everything he'd written already. And then, yeah, maybe because it's the same file for every season, maybe this switch to, you know, because like I was saying at the start of the video, like in the finished version, there's not a different spring, summer, autumn, winter. Maybe he was written later and that's why he just has the one file that's the same. And it's not split into spring, summer, autumn, winter, because it was like the stage in development where that had been decided that that's how he would do it. I don't know. Interesting though. That thing about the grave, oh my god. Huge for all you Harvey heads. Confirmation of mustachioed man's sad backstory.